You ever just stop and think about the sheer magic of movement? I mean, really think about it. 1 second you decide, I'm thirsty, and the next, without even consciously planning it, your hand is reaching for a glass. It feels so simple, right? But underneath all that, there's this incredibly powerful, super elegant machine making it all happen. So today, let's dive into that hidden world. Yeah, that's really the big question, isn't it? At any given moment, your brain is just a storm of possibilities. You could reach for that glass, or you could scratch your nose, check your phone, maybe practice that new chord on the guitar. So how on earth does it pick just one of those things and turn it into a smooth, coordinated action while telling all the other impulses, nope, not right now, you guys wait your turn?
Well, the answer lies deep, deep inside your brain, in this amazing collection of structures that acts as the ultimate gatekeeper. Seriously, think of it like the bouncer at the club of your intentions. This little group of structures is the basal ganglia, and its entire job is to stand at the door and decide which of your potential movements get the green light.
All right, so to really get how it makes these lightning-fast decisions, we first have to figure out, what is this thing and where is it? So here's what we're talking about. You can see right here, the basal ganglia isn't just one single thing. It's actually a whole team of interconnected nuclei buried deep inside your brain. Now, don't worry about memorizing all these crazy names, okay? We're just going to focus on how they all work together. The most important thing to see here is where it is. It's basically a central relay station between the cortex, that's the part of your brain that's coming up with all the ideas, and the other parts that actually carry out the actions.
Okay. But just listing off a bunch of names, that's not super helpful, is it? To really get what's going on, it's much better to think of them not as a list of parts, but as a team with very specific jobs. So let's meet the key players.
This table lays it out pretty perfectly. You can think of it like a workflow. It all starts at the top with the input station. That's the striatum. It's just getting flooded with all these potential action plans from your cortex. From there, the signals move down to the processing crew, and their job is to weigh all the options. And then finally, you've got the output managers. They make the final call, sending out the definitive go or no-go command that actually results in you either moving or staying perfectly still.
So yeah, the crucial thing to remember is that everything kicks off right here in the striatum. Just picture a super busy email inbox that's constantly getting messages from all over your brain about things you might want to do. It really is the grand central station for all of your intentions.
Okay, and this is where it gets really fascinating, because the basal ganglia doesn't just, pick an action. It uses this beautiful push-pull system to promote one specific movement while actively shutting down all the others. So let's take a look at how this whole thing is built on two crucial, totally opposite pathways.
Now, before we actually trace the circuits, we got to know the basic rules of the game, how these neurons talk to each other. So, first rule, the cortex activates the striatum. That kicks everything off. But here's the really important part. Most of the internal players here, like the striatum and the globus pallidus, they're inhibitory. Their job is basically to tell the next neuron in line to shut up, to be quiet. The thalamus, on the other hand, its whole purpose is to get the cortex excited and make movement happen. If you can just get this simple on-off, stop-go logic, you've cracked the code of this whole system. So, using those rules, the system creates these two circuits that are constantly working against each other. You've got the direct pathway. Think of this as your brain's gas pedal. It screams, go! And then you have the indirect pathway, which is the brake. It says, whoa, nope, not that one. Every single action you take is basically the result of this constant, super high-speed negotiation between the gas and the brakes. All right, let's follow the go pathway. Remember our rules. The cortex excites the striatum. The striatum then does its inhibitory job. It puts the brakes on the output center. Now here is the really clever part. The output center's default job is to put the brakes on the thalamus. So by inhibiting the inhibitor, the striatum is basically taking the brakes off of the brakes. It's a double negative. And once it's freed from that suppression, the thalamus is free to shout go to the cortex, and boom, you reach for that glass of water.
Okay, so what about the brakes? For the no-go pathway, the signal takes a slightly more complicated route, going through that processing crew we talked about. But what's the end result? It actually increases the inhibition on the thalamus. It slams on the brakes even harder. And this is how your brain stops you from, say, scratching your nose at the exact same moment you're trying to take a drink. It's actively suppressing all of those other competing movements.
So what is it that tips the balance between the gas and the brakes? Well, it's a little molecule you've probably heard of, dopamine.
When your brain releases dopamine into this system, it's like hitting the nitrous for the go pathway, and at the same time, it's like cutting the brake lines for the no-go pathway. It completely biases the entire system towards action, making it way more likely that you're going to move.
You know, this isn't just some cool piece of neuroengineering. This elegant balancing act is absolutely fundamental to our ability to interact with the world in a meaningful, purposeful way. When you get right down to it, this entire elegant system is designed for one single purpose: control. It's the reason your movements are smooth and intentional, and not just some chaotic jumble of twitches. By approving one single action and forcefully vetoing all the others, the basal ganglia transforms all your messy impulses into a single, graceful performance.
And this is really where we see why understanding the basal ganglia is so incredibly important. Because when this delicate balance between go and no-go gets disrupted, let's say from a lack of dopamine, the whole system just breaks down. This is a root cause of some really devastating movement disorders, and it just highlights how absolutely critical this hidden machinery inside our heads truly is. So it kind of leaves you with this one final thought, right? Every single move you make, even just shifting in your chair, is the winner of a blistering high-speed competition inside your head. It's a perfectly tuned performance conducted by this incredible neural orchestra. And it really makes you wonder, what decision is your brain's